Did you think the OpenGov drama is over? Think again, it's still very much alive, and in today's video we'll find out more about why a Parity employee is requesting over $840,000 from the Treasury in just one scoop. I'll also talk about a mysterious validator who uses a lot of KSM to vote nay on most of the referendums to either troll or simply to try and save the Treasury. But will he save it, or she? There are also some interesting media proposals that came in, and one of them is a bit cringe. Has the milking machine stopped? Nope, not by far. And in today's OpenGov video, we'll find out what's going on Kusama right now. Let the chaos begin. Welcome to today's video, and if it's your first time here, my name is Claudio and this is Cryptos Chain. Before starting with any of the tracks, I'd like to begin with the mysterious validator known as Hakan because of the initials of their public address. This person hasn't made their identity public but has decided to slam every referendum with a nay vote, and we don't know his or her real motives, but we do know the person is a validator of two different types. At least independent ones, because they're not part of any of the programs, after checking the data on Subscan, the Explorer, and that they've sent the KSM to this wallet from a centralized exchange to not be tracked. Because they're a validator, they're also likely keeping an eye out on the action in the different groups where referendums are being discussed. I'm actually curious if they'll ever come out or will always remain anonymous, but luckily for those who request funds, the validator only needs with a 2x conviction and doesn't go all in with a 6x to destroy the referendums. Let's begin with the small spender treasury track, where individuals can request up to and including 333 KSM. Referendum 143, launched by user PunkMux, is looking for funding for creating a subterminal IDE, which stands for an integrated development environment. For the non-techies, this is a software application that helps programmers develop software code efficiently. He's using an example of an existing one called sub-NVIM, and he'd like to create one on Polkadot because it lacks one, and he's requesting only 296 KSM for this initiative, which is worth approximately $9,500, and the referendum is currently failing with over 68k KSM against and only 368 KSM in favor. Referendum has only 5 days and 7 hours left before a decision is made. I personally voted nay for this for a simple reason. He didn't follow the standard process of creating a discussion with a proposal and to let it sit there for 7 days to get the community feedback and then launch it on chain. And I assume he's new and doesn't know how things work, but he should have asked before pushing it straight into the bread and butter. I'd be happy to review this and hopefully support it with an I vote once he creates that proposal and follows the steps, as the idea itself is pretty good, but we don't know the person. Looking at the medium spender track, where individuals can request up to and including 3,333 KSM, referendum 141 by Zixi Interlay, who's proposing curators, and I spoke about last time, is still doing very well and is passing with over 100k KSM in favor, almost 1.5k against. Referendum has just over 16 hours left before a decision. And referendum 147 by Hypercube was considered a bit of a troll, and it caused a lot of noise on Twitter. He initially created a proposal for a 90-second well-created explainer video of OpenGov, but asking for 527 KSM, which is worth approximately $17,000 at the current price. Now, aside from the large number of comments calling this proposal out, he then decided to call OpenGov a broken system because the Hakan validator voted nay for him, even if everyone else was also against it, and he's claiming that the canary has dropped dead. It's time to run out of the coal mine. The referendum is currently failing with over 47,000 KSM against and almost 3.8k KSM in favor, and has 10 days and 11 hours left before a decision is made. I voted nay for this one because I find it exaggerating that they would charge so much for a single video that's unlikely to generate that much attention, as most people will only vote if they understand the proposals themselves, and in most cases don't have time to read those. If anything, investing in simplifying the proposal process to a viewer like yourself might be better than investing so much in just a one-off 90-second video, but that's just my personal opinion. Referendum 148, raised by New Hope, made me laugh because if we look at the current voting status, they might have to change their username to Little Hope. But jokes aside, New Hope is looking to raise funds on behalf of Impulse DAO, who apparently want to create a DAO for developers who could create awesome tech games using Ink, which is Polkadot smart contract, as well as Gear smart contracts, which is part of an upcoming Para thread, who will also try to win a parachain slot eventually, or multiple ones. I've also happened to interview Nikolai from Gear Tech on my channel a while back, so you might be interested to learn more about it if you click the video on the top right hand corner of the screen. Impulse DAO already found 5 teams who just need to get funded over the course of 3 months to work and launch these games. Now, just to make it clear here, they're referring to interactive learning experience games for developers to learn the tech in an easier way and hopefully attract them to build on the ecosystem using this technology. So the idea is definitely awesome. Now, they're looking for 1,807 KSM to achieve this, which is worth approximately 58k. The referendum is currently losing with over 34k KSM against and 368 KSM in favor, and there are 11 days and 3 hours left before a decision is made. I personally voted nay for this when I initially saw it because they didn't add any descriptions when they launched it on chain. So without any info, the natural thing to do is to just vote nay or ignore it, which we shouldn't do unless we want to give it more time. But even though they added this info now, and I had a look through the discussion phase and saw Tom from Stake Plus's comment about them potentially going to Polkadot's Bounty 19, and they responded that the existing bounty is only focused on Ink smart contracts, but I asked Markian from Brush Farm, as he's familiar with that bounty, to see if they really want to take this team in. Only because they'll also use Gear Tech. So if he'll answer that they won't accept them, then I'll change my vote to an I, as they would deserve the funding, since it's an educational and fun idea to bring in that potentially awesome new developer who maybe might bring some awesome product on board. Referendum 149 is a medium spend raised by Dotcast, who have been creating video podcasts for a year in Spanish. He even interviewed Gavin Wood himself at the Sub-Zero conference, and they're looking for funding to create 48 videos, which would be a mix of podcasts, interviews, and tutorials with a frequency of 2 videos per week for 6 months, May to October. They're looking for almost 1,600 KSM for this, which is worth approximately 51.4k in dollars, and they're also claiming that should the price of KSM go up higher, then they marked that they'll return the excess KSM to the Treasury. The referendum is currently losing with almost 28,000 KSM against and almost 3,000 KSM in favor, and there are 12 days and 12 hours left before a decision. I personally voted aye for this because I have witnessed their growth since they started due to also speaking Spanish. Now I have to say that at the start I wasn't too convinced about the direction of the channel because it was just 2 guys talking about the ecosystem and sharing their personal opinions, but they've since come a long way with good quality short interviews at conferences and better quality podcasts. They do have a small channel of 480 subscribers and they average about 200-250 views per video after about a month from publishing. But what's good about some of these interviews is that they usually extract the general info from a founder or another team member, so they won't be out of date as long as the project survives and can be useful to someone new watching even 1 year down the line from now. Now they may not ask all the in-depth questions that I would normally ask in my interviews, but short and sweet can also work given the situation mentioned earlier. Moving on to the Referendum 150 by Akapitonov, who's working for Robonomics, which is a parachain on Kusama. They also created a media spend proposal for educational walkthrough content to basically help a person navigate through the features that exist in the ecosystem. They also want to take it one step further and explain to users the values and benefits they get by using decentralized applications. The team are looking to fill the gap in that middle ground before hype, only content and general tutorials that are created about the ecosystem, and they're looking for 843 KSM for this, which is worth approximately 27k in dollars. The referendum is currently failing with over 6.2k against, 5.8k in favor, and there are 12 days and 15 hours left before a decision is made. I personally voted nay for this, and I've left them a detailed comment to explain what I like and what I'd like to see. I'd like the structure with the milestones and the fair amount requested, and the idea behind bridging that gap and showcasing a comparison to Web2 apps. But what I'd like to see is an example video of how they plan to get this work done. Also a marketing plan for how they will be promoting this work, and a plan for tracking the impact of those videos that have been marketed, as well as maybe jump into Twitter and add short clips of those videos. My main concern is that they'll create these videos and they'll never be found by people and will be stale and forgotten with maybe 10 to 30 views. So the ROI for coin holders would just not be there. So if this fails, I'd like to see those points added to the next proposal with the plan, and I'd be happy to then vote aye. Moving on to the big spender track, where individuals can request up to and including 33,333 KSM. Referendum 142, which I looked at last time by Kusama, Hub, is doing worse than before and has received over 66.6k KSM against and almost 3k in favor, and the referendum has 4 days and 3 hours left before decision is made. I had voted nay for this last week. Referendum 144 raised by Otar, who works for Parity Tech, has raised a proposal to ask for funding for the infrastructure maintenance bounty report and top-up. He's requesting this funding to continue maintaining the teams and their infrastructure who have kept requesting funding to avoid them having to go back and request more funds through new proposals all the time. That way it would reduce the overhead on the number of referendums that could be avoided. He also publicized a list of all the available infrastructures that need to continue receiving that funding, and some of the popular ones are Subscan, which I personally use, as well as .scanner, which is another explorer. He is also claiming that this funding will keep operations going till the end of June of this year, and then no new funding requests will be approved after that date. Otar is asking for 26,200 KSM for this, which is worth over $840,000 in KSM and is about 8% of the total treasury amount. This is now the largest request under any of the treasury tracks, beating Verto Team's $500,000 request from February. Referendum has received over 80,000 KSM in favor and over 35k KSM against. Now, I personally voted aye for this one because I would like to continue seeing platforms like Subscan continue to get funding, knowing how awesome of an explorer and analysis tool it actually is. I've also read Anael's comment about two teams, Akala and Bifrost, returning a large amount of KSM which they borrowed in 2022 back to the treasury, which means 50k KSM will be returned. My only concern with Akala is that they completely removed the USD from their website, so they're trying to clean their past as if it never existed. It was also removed from CoinMarketCap, likely at the request of the team, but we may still get the Bifrost payback. The reason why many people voted nay against this maintenance proposal is because of the large amount requested affecting the treasury, so I can totally understand that side of it too. But let's see what will happen. Looking at referendum 146, there's been no description added. I also looked through Subscan and there was a single extrinsic call 4 days ago and 2 transfers, with the oldest being 46 days and 21 hours ago, with KSM being transferred from a centralized exchange. So that tells us it's a new Kusama account. It's also a person who doesn't know about the different referendum tracks because they created a big spender referendum for 1,600 KSM request, which could have gone into the medium spender track. Referendum has received over 30.7k KSM against and 388 KSM in favor, and the referendum is still in the preparation stage because no decision deposit has been added. I personally voted nay for this because there's no information about it. There's also no on-chain identity, so it's a new account who's likely trying their luck to get some free KSM. And looking at the Treasury Status, 3,404 KSM will be spent, which is worth approximately $109,000, with 622.9 KSM being burned, which is worth approximately $20,000, and available in the Treasury to be spent, there are 308,077 KSM, which is worth approximately $9.9 million. So there we go, we did it. We went below 10 million in just a week. That's been it from today's Open Gov video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you plan to vote down in the comments below. Also, please don't forget to hit like to help it get to more people, or share it with people who you think can find this of value who are KSM holders. Till next time.